How much of a threat are the Democratic Socialists of America? To learn more about the Democratic Socialists, we will be looking at the video of their recent national convention that went viral. Many are concerned that the rise of socialism is a threat to America's future. They ask if we have forgotten the catastrophic consequences of past experiments with socialism. The images used by Democratic Socialists depict a rose emerging from a clenched fist. It symbolizes that the ends justifies the means. The use of power and force, the fist, will lead to a socialist utopia of love. We have learned that whenever socialist ideology is applied, individual freedoms decrease. This is because of the authoritarian force that is necessary to bring about the utopian dream of diversity, inclusion, and equality of outcome. The social justice movement's demands for censorship has already limited the individual right of free speech. Yet the Democratic Socialists are still promising a new compassionate socialism that will bring prosperity to all the people. This appeals to those who are looking for a more compassionate community.
Dancing fearless.
Idealistic young people are drawn to the many promises of socialist candidates. Socialism is now more popular with the youth than capitalism. The Democratic Socialist Party has doubled its membership in the past few years. Nearly 100 Democratic Socialists now hold office across the country, from school boards to state legislatures. Socialist Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib were elected to Congress, and Bernie Sanders is a top candidate for the 2020 Democrat presidential nomination. Both Rudolf Steiner and Jordan Peterson have warned us of the threat of socialism. They both said socialism was the devolution of humanity. That means human evolution goes backwards under socialism. Jordan Peterson warned us that the new socialism of modern identity politics will tear us apart.
The French intellectuals in particular just pulled off a sleight of hand and transformed Marxism into postmodern identity politics. And like we've seen the consequence of that. It's not good. It's a devolution into a kind of tribalism that will tear us apart on the right and on the left and on the right.
Rudolf Steiner warned us that the inevitable consequence of social democracy is the use of force to suppress liberty. Steiner said that socialism is not rooted in the evolution of humanity. It will throw the world into turmoil. Those who bear responsibility for the errors it commits are those who have allowed it or wish to allow it. Perhaps Peterson and Steiner are blinded by white privilege and would see things differently if they were to undergo a proper social justice training program. The Democratic Socialists recently gathered in Atlanta for their 2019 National Convention. Who are these socialists, and what are their plans for America? They say they are here to win. We're not interested in losing, and we're not interested in performing our politics. Maria Svart, DSA's national director, told the more than 1,000 Democratic Socialists who gathered in Atlanta last week for DSA's largest ever conference. We're here to win, and at a grand scale, we want to transform society. The confident socialists do not intend to lose. They are planning a large-scale transformation of America. Let's go to the floor of the Democratic Socialist Convention so we can see the socialists in action.
We are going to need a party that will organize working people to fight for the demands that we want and to win socialism. Thank you so much.
Quick point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. There is speaker against name chapter pronouns.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Quick point of privilege once again. Quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, you know, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over...
I mean, I'm getting triggered by him just, you know, cussing everybody out. Why can't you express yourself in a quote-unquote comradely way? I mean, I don't get it. So everybody's getting triggered because you're getting triggered, so we're just in a trigger fest here.
I have continued to talk about how SJWs eat themselves alive over and over again. It's an endless cycle of victimization. Endless cycle of victimization. No matter what, they will always find a reason to be victimized. And when you get a group full of them here, it just shows it right here, right in front of our eyes.
Basically, it's part of their identity to have all of this neuroticism and all of these anxieties inside of themselves. And if you say or do certain things, you know, you could be triggering me, and therefore you've offended me, therefore I have power over you. And so they want power over each other. It's hardly surprising. After all, they are socialists.
We have a lot of disabled comrades, and a lot of those are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind. So it's up to us to modify that space to make sure that everybody is able to move in the ways that they need to move. And additionally, with the noise issue, like, avoid hissing, avoid waving banners, right? Because there's all sorts of things. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody else. We have quiet rooms that are available. There's a range of options of these, right? Please don't go into that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? We don't want to put people in stressful situations that they don't consent to, right?
You mean like the disability of being unable to handle everyday noises without having a nervous breakdown? How are you going to even host a convention when you spend the entire first day getting triggered by each other's words and mannerisms?
Triggering to my anxiety?
Biden better buck up his ideas, because these people are taking over the Democratic Party. These are the people Democrats increasingly have to pander to.
The outside world has randomness and things you're not going to like, and you have to build up a thick skin for it. But none of these people want to do that. They want the world to change to cater to them because they're children. They're acting like children. This is how spoiled brats behave when they grow up to be physically adults, but they're still children in their behavior. And so, yeah, what can I say? You have to learn to adapt, and you have to grow stronger as you mature. And instead, they don't want to do that. They want to stay in this state of arrested development where all of their feelings from minute to minute are catered to, and they never have to experience anything that makes them uncomfortable.
The DSA is not doomed. The DSA is growing. These are people who can't handle regular noises like clapping. They're becoming increasingly unhinged. Everything to the right of where they are is fascist, and it makes sense when you look at this video, and you have to understand why it's so dangerous. The DSA will struggle to recruit middle American working class people in unions. It will not struggle to recruit fringe, far-left extremists and people who have mental disabilities, of which you only need a few to actually ignite some kind of greater conflict.
And this isn't socialism that you'd see in the 1950s, they say. This is a new version at which even the sound of people talking is offensive. These are the people that are going to run society. This is significant on a global stage when you live in a very aggressive geopolitical environment where war is always a few steps away. And they are going to be in control of the nuclear submarines.